This is a shelf in my RV that I always felt like had a lot of wasted space at the top because it was so tall but yet very shallow. So if you were to stack things very high in there, then when you open the door, they could all come tumbling out. So what I did was I added a shelf to this cabinet, and this shelf runs the entire length of this double cabinet. And I added the shelf, I got a piece of lumber cut to the size, which to be honest was kind of difficult to figure out how to get in there. It took some maneuvering because it runs the full length and the doors aren't that wide. But for most shelves, most cabinets, that wouldn't be a problem. And then I had these support sections cut for the shelf to rest on, and they run from the bottom of the shelf to the level I wanted the shelf to be at, the bottom of the cabinet to the level I wanted the shelf to be at. And then I used acrylic mounting tape and I ran it up the back of each one of these support pieces, the wood support pieces, and stuck them to the inside of the cabinet. And then I set the piece of wood across the top. There were a couple of these support pieces that I miscalculated the length due to I didn't take into account some trim, which I don't know if you can see, it's kind of dark, that's inside the cabinet, some trim pieces. And so to account for the fact that some of them were too short, I folded a piece of acrylic mounting tape and wedged it in there for the shelf to rest on. And then I also put acrylic mounting tape in a single layer on all of the wood pieces and then laid that wood across the top. So this is a fully removable shelf that I added, although I can't really imagine why anyone would want to remove it, but if they did, they could pull the whole thing out and that acrylic tape would just peel right off without leaving any damage behind. I personally liked building this shelf because to me it was a lot easier to just tape it into place rather than have to use screws, a drill and all that stuff. So this to me was a very easy way to add a shelf to my RV cabinet. And if I had known about this technique when I first moved into my RV, I would have done it in my RV pantry as well before I bought a bunch of those little wire shelves that can help you add a shelf. Those work too, but they do add up in cost. I think this is cheaper, especially if you can get free lumber or cheap lumber. Also, I like having a solid shelf to set things on rather than wires that things could fall through or might sit crooked on. Okay, so this is an easy project that I did using acrylic mounting tape.